Hello everybody, this is Kenuda, and I'm here with some Tyranny. Now I'm sure a lot of you know that Tyranny came out on the 10th, I believe it was? Yeah, the 10th. And admittedly, I don't know a huge amount about this game. I spoke with my friend Hugh in England who told me a bit about it, and all I know is that we're part of an invading force. Well, I can't say all I know because I played a little bit, and I've got the basic story down. I was recording it, but I forgot to record voice as well, so that was my bad. So I do know a little bit about it. I know it's made by the people who made Baldur's Gate and different games like that. The system for Baldur's Gate is still a little new to me. I'm not entirely certain how I feel about the slightly slower process of combat, but then again, I do love games like Neverwinter Nights, where combat is still kind of slow. But we'll see as we get into things. They do have a system for speeding up your attacks, so things should speed up as time goes by. I know basically what character I'm gonna make. I know what choices I'm gonna make. As I said, I did play through this a little bit before, so I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to speed through the beginning. So I'm going to cut out of that. I'm going to cut that out, and we'll go right into the game itself. So I apologize, but I'll be right back. Alright, and we are in. Let me look at the journal and spell creation real quick. Yeah, okay. Cool. Kairos the Overlord be praised. When I heard the avalanche, I feared the valley was sealed with you on the other side. That his favorite warrior claps your Oh yeah, I should warn you all right now. Watching this, I am gonna read nearly every little bit of text. If there's not a voice to it already, if I feel it's important to the story, I'm gonna read it. So this is going to take time. That's your warning. I bid you a welcome return to Vendrian's Well. The altitude is still dizzying and the locals still revolting. Doubly so this time around, as they've passed on that peace accord you offered them. As they've pissed on it, yes. Excuse me. Edgering Pass is still as you remember it. I was hoping to have the warriors celebrate your return with a proper feast, but I'm told you have places to be. Lore experience. So I do like that you don't get skill points as you level up. Instead, your skills get experience as you use them. So if you want your skills to be better, you have to use them a lot. Let's see. Yes, well, there has indeed been little goodwill between our armies, and you are right. When we act as we do, what choice do we give the Overlord? And you are right. I should not cast blame so freely, especially not when talking to a servant of justice. My apologies. Well, you've traveled a long way. I won't keep you further. I'm sure the Archons will want to hear from you at... Did you hear that? More runners. Third time this week. The Oathbreakers keep trying to send messengers through the mountains to gather help from outside the valley. But they're a bit too late for that now. Come, let's show these Oathbreakers a good fight. Now I refer to these Tearsmen as Oathbreakers. Alright. Let's do this. Let's Stunning Palm you. There you go. And then use Thrust. My attacks don't... I need to focus a lot more on... I need to focus a lot more on getting Armor Pin. That's what I need. So there's the mini-map. Interactable objects. Critical hit. skill increase. One of your skills has gone up a rank. As you use your skills in the game, they accumulate experience. When they gain enough experience, they will increase their skill rank. As skill ranks increase, your characters will gain experience towards their next level. Okay, so the skills themselves are how I level up. Nice. So Laura is nearly leveled up. Subterfuge, not quite so much. And I do crushing damage. What are all the rest of these? These need to go away. Characters, movement and controls, blah blah blah. We should be vigilant and deal with the remaining Oathbreakers in the pass. Seems like a suicide mission. What do the Vendrian Guard hope to achieve? From what we've learned from the other prisoners, the runners are instructed to escape the valley and drum up support for the Oathbreakers' cause elsewhere in the tiers. I don't know who they think will listen to their pleas. We've smashed every army, fortress, and self-proclaimed ruler these low-born tiersmen have to offer. Perhaps they think the wild beasts will rally to their side? Disfavored victory has soaked the tiers with fear. I doubt anyone would rally to their hopeless cause. My thoughts exactly. They lost this war years ago. This is little more than the last gasp of a dying people. Okay. Let us move the boulder and kill someone. Brute strength will also work. Okay, so she'll run that way.
Right.
I will fight these guys real quick. Do I do less damage for that? No? Okay. Thrust. So yeah, combat is just a little slow for my tastes. Luckily, I'm doing unarmed combat, so my attacks are much faster than everybody else's, but I also do almost no damage to everything. What I need is to speed up my attacks and speed up my abilities. We'll do Palm Strike. I'll wound you.
I got it.
And dead. Aye. Man is wounded. If you'll let me help. Yes, the funny thing about the disfavored. Yes, that man is horribly wounded. You could see entrails going out of his stomach. Thing is, though, Graven Ash, the Archon of War that the disfavored follow, gives a special healing magic to all of his disfavored. And they're basically Spartans with very heavy regenerative property. The ancient Weeping Mother statue pays homage to the Queen Lycaris, first of her name. Fresh water once flowed from the statue, but when Kairos' forces attacked in 429, the statue began weeping blood and has done so ever since. And there's Mushroom. Several skulls, bleached by the sun and picked clean by carrion birds, are spiked on a roughly hewn post. It is the only heraldry the Scarlet Chorus needs.
Try and catch me, worm.
A young Scarlet Fury weaves around the Vendrian Guard attackers, avoiding their weapons with fluid grace. She nods to acknowledge you. Scarlet Furies are the elite fighters of the Scarlet Chorus, distinguished by their graceful attacks and murderous persistence. Better armed and trained than most Chorus conscripts, the Furies are found among the vanguard of battle, their brutal displays of skill inspiring bloodlust in the masses and fear in the enemy. Breathless enemy soldier passes a glance to her countrymen. This one's crazy. Too much lead in her water. We should cut our losses and turn back.
Ha, Fate Finder. You're here at last. Here to join me in putting these cowards out of their misery.
Save something for me. For the realm of Apex, charge! Let's go after that one. I don't care about tips. I should turn the tutorials off.
I I see as the crow flies.
Here's where the enemies get a little bit easier to kill all of a sudden. I want you to burn that one. Jesus Christ! He just kicked the shit out of me.
Phew. I can tell you didn't spend the conquest in a diplomat's tent. Though you did a fair amount of feasting in the second year of the conquest, as I recall. A few of my mates and I caroused with this apex scum thanks to your good faith gesture. A pity this lot won't be around to remember the good old days. I'm Verse, by the way. But there are more important things to take care of than introductions. Those Vendrian guard we killed didn't come alone. If you don't recognize me, it's probably because I'm not covered in beastman blood. You did me a good turn back in Azure, and I never forget a friend.
When Chorus soldiers reported attacks by wild beasts who could rumble the earth and bore the name Stonestalker, you helped them hunt and capture many of these deadly fighters. Most were brutish and dumb and whined openly for their alpha, a beast woman dark as shadow and from a far more dangerous tribe than theirs, a huntress out for vengeance who had taken them in. Not so fast.
The voices of Nerat told me to intercept you at Edgering Ruins before you busied yourself solving all of the camp's problems. Guess I was too late. You're due for a meeting with the Archons, but we should handle the small matter of this ambush.
I feel like I know this voice actress. I feel like she's one of the people from Critical Role, but I could be wrong.
My guess. The Vendrian Guard are testing our strength in battle, learning how we perform before they organize a real offensive. That or they're really, really desperate to get beyond the mountains and couldn't wait until nightfall. A Scarlet Fury, one of the elite killers of our ignoble gang. You'll see more than a few of us around camp, but don't let that fool you. We're a rare breed. Most of the soldiers in the Scarlet Chorus are little more than farmers and children armed with rusted forks. Makes them easier to control. The voices of Nerat called his best fighters to this siege. There must be something important about Vendrian's well, though don't ask me what. The Archon isn't in the habit of spilling secrets.
Let's join the battle.
Eager. I like that. Before we go, you might search among the remains of our fallen comrades. Wherever they're bound, I doubt they'll miss their boots, much less any rings or any useful iron they might be clutching.
Rings were introduced by Kairos in the early years of the Northern Conquest. The currency of the divided realms was of questionable value and easily counterfeit, and rings offered the promise of a shared economy simple enough for anyone to understand. Today they are the standardized currency across all the known lands of Tyratus. Their commonality and ease of transportation quickly made rings the preferred unit of trade, even in realms where Kairos' peace is not observed.
No reason to pity the fallen. Before long, we might wish we'd joined them here. But at least we'll enjoy heavy pockets and warm toes. For the voices of Nerat!
Okay, let's search you two. And we'll give you the helmet. Let's see. Hide your helmet. Hide your helmet. You can't use scroll, and neither can I, but eventually I'll be able to. What does this do? Foe AoE versus endurance, 12 corrode damage. Not bad. Not bad. I can't access the quick bar. Oh, no, there it is. Okay. Alright, let's do this.
I got it.
Eyes forward, no looking back. The Vendrian Guard warrior roars with his falx held high, his words largely lost over the din of combat. You? As his attention lands on you, a double take of recognition comes over the man's face. The Peacebinder from the war. If you've come to once again talk peace, it seems you're too late. Drop your weapon, and perhaps we can settle this without bloodshed. We knew that violating the surrender meant an end to what little mercy and goodwill Kairos' forces have or ever will show us. Now there's no turning back. He shakes his head with a frown. I know you tried to do right by us in the past, but now you're between us and the way out. Nothing personal. Fatebinder, did I hear that correctly? Maybe you misunderstood why we're here. As he signals his men to charge, the sound of chanting rises from the south, drawing his attention. Scarlet Chorus reinforcements! Hurry! Run down the Oathbreakers! Let none escape! From the red mob of reinforcements from the south, a blood chanter emerges at the head of the rabble, the ornamental crest of her staff pulsing with crimson tones. Signing sigils of magic and wordlessly moving her mouth, the blood chanter scribes a series of spells into the air. A red glow surrounds the Vendrian Guard warriors as the chanter's magic worms its way into their minds, blinding them with rage. Hold position, all of you! You there, keep to the path! The warrior gestures along the canyon trail, but his soldiers turn their attention to the Scarlet Chorus, roaring challenges. No! Don't engage them! We need to run! His orders falling on deaf ears, the warrior reluctantly readies his weapon. I want to go and help these.
Future course.
Because I kind of want these guys to survive. Those are just simple hordes, which are fairly small-time enemies, but you know.
Useless. I should try something else. They won't even get close.
Wounds, don't care. You burn him. You use thrust on him.
No dice.
And I missed. Yay.
On it.
Alright, there goes Tarkos. And all three of the horde survived. Yeah, last time I did this, they all died. Come quick, we have a situation on the cliffside. They have the commander. Well, first, let's loot the corpses. Can I? No, I can't actually. Wait, wasn't there a fifth person? Whatever. Weapons and armor are strewn haphazardly around the cart. Every blade showed sign of rust, and every piece of armor is in need of repair.
Yes.
Weapons and armor are stacked with neat precision on this transport cart. Every spear is honed and oiled, ready for battle. So, that's the Scarlet Chorus weapons that are all pieces of shit, and that's the disfavored weapons that are all well taken care of.
You got it.
Okay, so she's wounded, which gives a negative to her stats, minus 10% max health, minus 5 all skills, so she's a little worse for the wear for combat. Kairos ordered the original icon of the disfavor erased from memory. For over 100 years, the blah blah blah. The disfavored have kept the scratched out iconography, wearing it with pride. Couldn't help but notice how you were eyeballing the disfavored symbol littered about the camp. It's hardly a symbol, just a scrawl. That's true, but it used to be the pride of Graven Ash's Legion before Kairos made them deface it. What happened? Word has it that Ash has been under more scrutiny than the other Archons, seeing as he took a stand against Kairos in the past. Before he bent the knee to Kairos, Graven Ash rallied his legions against the Overlord's authority. His prowess on the battlefield ingratiated him to the Archons, who welcomed him into their ranks in exchange for his obedience. Kairos and the other Archons keep him on a tight leash. Ash's troops impressed the growing empire, but Kairos made them sacrifice everything they were up to the point Ash surrendered. They've been disfavored ever since, and fighting to earn back their honor. I guess that's why you don't cross the Overlord. Kairos holds a grudge with a mean, jealous streak. Actually, I have other weapons.
What do you need?
Are you a spy? Verse regards you with an unreadable expression. Her mismatched eyes look at each of yours in turn. I mean, let's see. Reputation and tyranny governs how major factions and characters from Archons to companions feel about the Fatebinder. Reputation is measured on two scales, favor and wrath. Reputation affects not only the quests you are offered and how characters treat you in the world, it also grants unique abilities to the Fatebinder. Different abilities are unlocked for favor versus wrath, granting different rewards depending on how the faction feels about you. I mean, does it even matter? You have to decide for yourself whether or not I'm worth trusting. Is keeping me along worth the risk that I'll spill the occasional word about what you ate for breakfast? Tell me something about yourself.
Yeah, if you insist. I'm a Scarlet Fury. That should raise some flags for you. It means that I'm good at killing, and more importantly, that I enjoy it. What I won't enjoy are the pleasures of funerary rites packed with weeping mourners. Someday I'll fall in battle, and then they'll roll me into a mass grave or heap me atop a shit-stained wagon. One more anonymous, knife-riddled piece of meat. Until then, I plan to take whatever I can from life and have a little fun along the way.
Tell me about your life before the chorus. Life? What life? As far as I'm concerned, I didn't exist before the chorus. There was some girl on a farm wearing my face and talking with my voice, but she wasn't me. Sometimes she would sneak out at night, take a scythe, and have some fun with the livestock. Our shared interests began and ended there. When the Scarlet Chorus swept through my village on their long trek from the bastard city, that was when I finally woke up. I buried my old life, took red vengeance on anyone who wronged me, and found the freedom I could only dream was out there. So you're a psychopath, right? What of your parents? My mother ran a successful farm, and I worked it for a number of years before I found the chorus. She was a hard, bitter woman, acted like the world owed her something. She never talked about my father, though I figured out a thing or two about him later on. He was a merchant from the Northern Empire who took a liking to her, and she him. He stayed around only long enough to get what he wanted. Never mind him. My mother never had what you would call taste, so he couldn't have been terribly influential to me if he did stick around. Do you ever wish you could do things over and end up somewhere other than Kairos' army? That's as naive a question as I've ever heard. Kairos is everywhere. If you aren't in the Overlord's army, you're being trampled by it. Of course, I could have labored on the family farm into my maturing years, married some dolt and littered him a nursery of squealing piglets. Having my body torn to pieces by smaller versions of me sounds like fun. Then one day, when I decided enough was enough, I'd slit my husband's throat over breakfast and run off to join the chorus anyway. My way saved a lot of time. You're a killer. Better to stick with the chorus. At least you understand. The chorus praises and rewards the thing inside me that I would suppress in civilized company. Life is too short to repress every desire, right? Especially if I have anything to say about it. I think you have the wrong idea about me. The chorus didn't take me as a sobbing maid. I strode into their camp and enlisted. Someone tossed me a dented blade. I lived through initiation, spent a week butchering my neighbors, and moved on with my new kin. I didn't waste time with goodbyes. My mother had long since died, and the rest of my family were louses. The girl I used to be, even she knew that she was worth more than all of them combined. What is the significance of your feathers? Oh, okay, cool. My mother kept a messenger bird. Widerbeak. Widerbeak? He was an angry old bastard, spoiled from living the high life, squawked in my window every single night. Pecked my fingers while I fed him only the fattest, juiciest mice. When I left the farm to join the Scarlet Chorus, geez, it's not World of Warcraft, Miyoko. I wrung that ungrateful little fucker like a dish rag, plucked his feathers, and gave his carcass to the mice. It felt like justice. I also like how the feathers catch the breeze. Helps me keep my balance, especially when I'm moving fast. Enough questions about your past. We'll talk again later. I'm running low on time for this.
Right.
Give me items. Yes. Heavy greaves for you, agate for the main inventory, or the shared inventory, whatever. It's still there, good. Oh, hi. What are you doing? You'll draw attention to me. Aren't you a Scarlet Chorus? Don't you like combat? Stow your weapons or we find out how long a man screams before hitting the ravine down below. Cornered between a precipitous drop and a band of angry soldiers, the Oathbreaker warrior holds a disfavored officer at knife point. Skewer him! Worry not for me. Graven Ash will protect. The disfavored officer winces, blood seeping from the seams of his bracers and cuirass. You heard the man. He plainly invited you to use that little blade of yours. What are you waiting for? Permission from your pimp? This blade? If you're so eager to see your ally dead, just step closer. I could do athletics. Or conquest. I feel like I'm trying to go for a rebellion path. So I think I want to keep this man alive. Gained wrath with Scarlet Chorus, favor with disfavored. You're Tunon's envoy. He watches you closely for a long moment until his posture slackens and he lowers the knife. If you will vouch for my safety, then his sentence is halted by a spear thrust into his lung. Leaping forward the moment Tyrell lowers his blade, the disfavored soldiers slaughter the Oathbreaker. Dazed but alive, Drastus lets out a long sigh and struggles to his feet. I offered that man mercy, and you made a liar of me. But these mongrels require a firm hand. They can't be trusted, and my honor is as dear to me as your sword is to you. Do not forget that a second time. I understand. My apologies. It will not happen again. Kairos be praised. That Oathbreaker fought with the rage of Cairn himself. Thank you, Fatebinder. I thought today was my last. From the look of it, guess they thought if they swarmed the pass, maybe one might make it out. We found a few scraps of parchment on the bodies. Literacy is rare in the Northern Empire, where the disfavored are born and trained. Time spent reading and writing is, after all, time not spent sparring and readying one's body and mind for battle. And of letters such as yourself should be able to make sense of this. Examine the parchment. Recruitment material. They were trying to bring more traders to the fight. The Archons are expecting you. When you're ready, leave by the gate. End conversation. Hey. Let's take quick finger ring. Water, scroll there, everything else in there. Graven Ash is better than we deserve. I can't actually say much there because he does kind of keep you alive through everything. Fatebinder, we are honored by your presence. Need something? What is the situation? The Oathbreakers hold the citadel at the heart of the valley, the one built around the base of the spire. Aurora points east toward the tower in the distance. The Mittani River has been our largest headache during the siege. It's unsafe for armored troops to ford, save for at key locations, and the enemy knows this as well as we do. I know we'd be a lot farther along if the Scarlet Chorus used its alleged strength in numbers to ford the river themselves and overwhelm the enemy. As it is, we must take the valley slowly and advance the disfavored bulwark, since that's where the real work gets done. Because all it takes is numbers to cross a river under a hail of arrows. If the disfavored were quicker to act, maybe the Vendrian Guard wouldn't be so trained up to face us. If either of you was correct, the campaign would be over and I wouldn't be here. Yeah, they're both wrong. Because you can't use heavy armor to ford a river. It drags, it gets caught by the water and pushed along, it's weighty and slow, and no matter what healing properties you have, you're gonna get rained with arrows the entire time, and if one catches you in the leg, then you're gonna fall into the water and be lost forever. But at the same time, a whole bunch of armored fuckers are not going to ford a river either. They're still going to be slower, and those arrows are still going to be coming down, and they're just going to die. A lot. Fair point. The Legion is eager to gain some perspective on our quarrels. Consequently, I retract my previous remark. Really? Because I don't. Next time you say something, try to mean it. I actually do kind of like Verse. I like her no nonsense psychopathy in a way. How long have you been with the disfavored? 7 years, 2 seasons, mayhap a handful of days. I trained at Fort Resolution a bit before the conquest. Compared to the commanders you find around camp or stationed at Iron Hearth, that makes me one of the young bloods. This has been a long and grueling campaign, but the end is in sight. We'll soon have the Oathbreakers back under control. Then we can rest, retrain, and even cycle out troops so we can see our families again. What can you tell me of the Vendrian Guard, the last gasp of the Younger Realms, which were a whole bunch of realms in the final part of the tiers? Among them are warriors that escaped the Bastard City siege, a few refugees from other victories, and a bunch of Vendrian locals with delusions of independence. Seen anything interesting during the war? I once saw a forge-bound artisan set himself on fire. Occupational hazard. That was an unpleasant day. The first of many, to be honest. So, the forge-bound are mage smiths, sworn to Kairos' service. Yes, I'm just going to read this. Though their operations in the tiers are overseen by Tunon and his court of fate-binders, each forge-bound uses magic as a tool to augment their personal craft, most commonly smelting and metalworking, but carpenters, tailors, and tanners are found in the ranks, and each mage strives to create that which is impossible with mundane hands. Most notably, the forge-bound are the sole masters of ironworking in the known world. Using spells of fire resistance to wade into the forge fires, the forge-bound can work iron at temperatures no other forge can match, and with a hands-on touch that no mundane smith could hope to achieve. Because of this vital skill, the forge-bound are considered a strategic war asset, their lives regimented and controlled so that the forges may churn out iron arms and armor without debate, delay, or distraction. Carry on. Okay, so we'll talk to one or two other people here, and then head on. Oh hey, the torn banner bears the scratched-out icon of the disfavored. The army's original symbol has been lost to history, and Graven Ash never ordered a replacement, preferring the blasted icon over all others. Fatebinder, a pleasure to have you join us. You never really know if one of Tunon's officers is battle-ready until the fighting breaks out. You can clearly hold your own in a fight. Thank Kairos for that. There's been too much talk of late, and not enough action. The Archon of War is planning his next move. Would you have him hasten his plans for your impatience? Never, ma'am. Graven Ash protects. I'm just eager to see the Vendrian Guard buried under their own patched defenses. Why hasn't the siege been resolved? It's because the Scarlet Chorus scoff at the Great General's plans and they aren't carrying their weight. They should be using their great numbers to patrol and harass the enemy. If you ask me, I think they're intentionally going easy on the Oathbreakers. Even if they listen to us, are they even capable of following orders? The Scarlet Chorus doesn't have a chain of command, just a rabble of gang bosses cutting each other's throats for advancement. Pissing on the disfavored is like a badge of honor, if you don't mind my saying so. We are the proud elite of Kairos' military strength, selected from the finest northern stock and hammered against the anvil of war. If you want to put that in perspective, the disfavored are a sword, forged with care, then polished and sharpened to perfection. The Scarlet Chorus are more of a rusty pitchfork dredged out of a swamp, effective in large numbers, but easily outclassed. Graven Ash protects indeed. What have you survived? In my early days, I broke from my phalanx and ran at an enemy, received a spear in my guts for my efforts. It took the better part of an afternoon for the Archon's protection to patch me up. Learned a valuable lesson, too. When I was in Azure, I caught a hammer blow to the side of the head. All I remember is a ringing sound and feeling my skull shatter, from jawline to ear to top. I woke up hours later. The medic says there's a piece of helmet lodged in my brain. My badge. My reminder. We owe it all to the great general. He gives us the strength to fight where others would flee, and stand when others would fall. What a pile of dung. They're right about one thing, the disfavored have taken too many blows to the head. You don't believe in Ash's protection? I believe in it all right, but I don't buy that he's doing anyone a favor. In war, death is a lesson. Survival is its own reward. If Ash protects his soldiers, the weakest of them occupy a space in the phalanx that could be put to better use. Graven Ash gives his soldiers the chance to improve, which is more than the voices of Nerat allows. Off to an early start agitating the problems between our camps, are we? The voices of Nerat doesn't give his soldiers anything but a purpose. He barely even feeds us. We take everything we want, including our advancement. Are you threatening me? As you were. The prisoner says his name's Tarkus Demos? Then I don't think this is a complicated matter. He dies. His family's been a driving force in the Vendrian Guard. Killing him should demoralize whatever's left of the Tarkus clan. So, real quick, I remember this particular scene, and Drastus is a fucking idiot. Killing him should obviously demoralize whatever's left of the Tarkus clan, absolutely, if he's high-ranking. But, let's say he is high-ranking. Why not instead convert him? That would mean that when he goes into battle, he can demoralize the enemy even further. They see that their once comrade-in-arms and high-ranking comrade-in-arms is now a traitor. And they're just like, what the fuck have we been fighting for? All must be given a chance to... The Chorus Mage falls short as her eyes widen at the recognition of her face. You? I see how it is. Have you come to once again deny us our right? How do you expect us to fight if we are denied the right to claim new blood? We'd let you take prisoners, but you can't control them. You send these conscripts out on patrol and they never return, defecting all over again. I can't let this nonsense strategy continue. Well, I insist this Oathbreaker be taken to the Voices of Nerat, leaving us at an impasse. Fortunately, we have a Fatebinder here to settle the matter for us. So, what say you? What should become of this prisoner? Chorus should be allowed its chance to recruit new warriors. This is the sort of nonsense that got us into this mess we're in now. If we keep showing these mongrels mercy, they'll just bite us time and time again. If it will calm your nerves, I assure you this one won't be put on the battlefield. Make sure the prisoner is taken straight to the Voices of Nerat. I won't keep you here any longer, Fatebinder. I know you have important business in the valley. For the glory of Kairos. What about you lot?
Victory is ours. The Overlord reigns supreme.
I am glad that I kept all three of those alive. Hail Kairos, and glory to the Voices of Nerat. I take it you're the gopher everyone's talking about. Are you getting the lay of the ruins, or just avoiding the Archons? We picked this area clean months ago. All that's left are some old stones and that prize off in the distance. What do you want? Is that how you speak to a superior officer? It's how I speak to you. Only just arrived in camp and you think you know more about breaking a siege than the rest of us? Let's grip her by the collar. What are you doing? I didn't mean anything by it. I was just prodding to see if you'd balk. You hold the soldier's unblinking gaze, silently filling the moment with every ounce of command you can muster. I'll shape up. It's Fatebinder from now on. Didn't mean to step beyond my rank. Ma'am, I'm glad you have the capacity to see reason. Back to my questions. Tell me about these ruins. This place used to be an actual fort. When Cairn came through, the Archon of Stone pulled down most of the masonry with him. Not sure if it was intentional, but he left that old statue in one piece. It's carved in the likeness of old Queen Lycaris. Strangest thing, the statue started crying blood around the time of the war. I like to think we clobbered the Avengrian guards so badly that their ancestors could feel it. What do you know about the spire? I know how to tell time by its shadow, and that it hurts my neck if I stare up at it for too long. Really, it's no different from the spires in the north. Big, ugly, and inaccessible. It's strange that the Vendrian people built their citadel around it, but there's no accounting for taste. Be seeing you, Fatebinder. Alright, let me sell some crap, and, actually no, let's see. How's trade? I trust you've been granted proper stewardship of the goods you were peddling. Where did you get these? Harkian Bronze acquired those on my behalf, from Archon Tunon's agents, I believe. You see any issue? All seems in order for me. Let's see what you...
Yes.
Who else can I talk to in this camp? I haven't talked to all of these people. Horde, horde, horde. Another horde. And another disfavored. Alright, so around this way is a treasure chest. I know of that. climb up, and I need a 39 subterfuge to open it, which I have. And it's gauntlets. Sweet. Take all. Me, those gauntlets. Those gloves there. What do your gloves give you? Better than what mine did. Alright. Back down we go. So I gained subterfuge +1. Was that what it said? I don't even remember offhand.
Can't do that.
Good to know. So that's what that does. Alright. So, I'm gonna leave it here for now. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Yeah, I'm still a little iffy on the combat. It's a little slower than I like, but it's not bad. Definitely not bad. I do enjoy the game. I love conversing with these characters. I love talking, I love learning this lore, and I love beating the shit out of things with my fists. So, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm sorry that I didn't get to show you guys the conquest system. I was really looking forward to that the first time I played, the first time I started the game, but I don't feel like going through that whole process, like taking the time to read everything and looking through every choice over again. I did make a couple new choices, but nothing too serious. But beyond that, not a whole lot changed. Anyway, hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you, guys!
Bye-bye!